Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Please feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I make this dish this evening. Now, it is actually a pretty complex dish. This is a chicken with different kind of vegetables, but it also has noodles underneath it. So in many ways, this is like two different dishes. The noodle underneath it is a angel hair pasta noodles. But this noodle is special because it has been pan-fried. And pan-fried noodle is definitely one of our favorite noodle dish. Now, pan-fried noodle dish is very popular in southern part of China. And it has a very unique characteristics because the noodles are slightly fried, give it a nice crispy texture. Now, frying it takes a little bit of time, but you can use almost any kind of noodles for this. Traditionally, people use egg noodles, but for this particular case, I'm going to use a angel hair pasta noodles. Now, I posted a video earlier which I boiled a bunch of angel hair pasta noodles, and I stored them in the refrigerator. Now, the day when I boiled 2 pounds of it, and I used about perhaps a quarter of it to make a lo mein dish. So I have another 3/4 left. Now, they have really good shelf life. You can store them in the refrigerator for as long as about 10 days. So I can use them for different type of purpose. And one of the reasons I usually make pan-fried noodles is to have these noodles already made, and I store them in the refrigerator. Now, if you store them in the refrigerator for about 48 hours, when you fry them, they will not stick to the bottom of the wok. Now, the wok I'm using here is a carbon steel wok. It is the Aldi Crofton wok, which I have talked about earlier. This is one of my favorite carbon steel wok. It's very inexpensive probably because it's so cheap that I really like it. So I have been frying this noodle for about 4 to 5 minutes. As you can see, part of the noodles start to turn brown. And this is the browning of the noodles. And you can brown it as much as you want or as little. And of course, this gives the noodles a crispy texture. And this is what makes this dish so unusual and so delightful. It's probably one of favorite noodle dish for a lot of people. I have not seen anybody who I shared or cooked this noodle for that didn't like it. No, now the noodle is almost done. It takes about just 6 to 7 minutes to come to this state. And I add some scallions, which I cut into the julienne size and into strips. And so basically, it will give the noodles a nice oniony flavor. Now, you can eat this noodle the way as it is, but there are different ways to serve it. So if you want to eat the noodle just as the way it is, you can season it in different ways. Now, in this case, I'm going to season it with a little bit of my Walk with Tak seasoning, basic seasoning mix. Actually, it will give the noodle really great aroma because of the onion, both the onion flakes and onion powder in this seasoning mix. And of course, the mushroom seasoning in this basic seasoning mix will give it a great umami flavor. So now the noodle is done. I'm going to set them aside. And so I'm going to next to cook another dish to go over it. Now, this is a good example of combinatory stir frying. You stir fry different ingredients separately. In this case, you want the noodles to stay crisp. So you can stir fry the other ingredient just to go on top of it. And that will keep both of them have the type of texture that you are looking for. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I stir fry some broccoli and some carrot. And then I'm going to add a little bit more cooking oil in the middle of the wok. And I'm going to add some chicken right into the middle. Now, there are many different ways to stir fry this dish. And this is probably the most efficient way because you can cook everything all together at once. And by using what I call sequential stir frying, you add different ingredients at different time points, so consequently, you can cook them to the texture that you like. Now, this chicken has been coated with a light layer of cornstarch, and the cornstarch, first of all, will keep the chicken moist. Keep the chicken as dry as possible when you put onto the wok, so it will char it. But the chicken also will be protected by the cornstarch to keep the inside of the chicken moist. Now, this method turned out to be really efficient because the fact that you are really doing everything at the same time. Now, as I'm frying the chicken, the broccoli is also being cooked. When I add the chicken, the broccoli is probably only about 30 to 40% cooked. So this will give the broccoli a little bit more time, and together with the chicken, you really save time. Of course, the other option is that you can stir fry the chicken separately and combine it together. Now, when you come to cooking a dish like this with multiple ingredients, the most important aspect is the texture. You want the texture to be exactly how you like it. Now, somebody would like the broccoli a little bit softer, then they can cook it slightly differently. And in this case, using this method, I call it a dry stir frying. Basically, the broccoli is being cooked as dry. In this case, what happened is that the floret of the broccoli will be soft, but as the stem of the broccoli will remain to be pretty firm to give it a nice crispy texture. As you notice that I add a little bit more cooking oil to it. Now you can tell the wok is very hot because you can see the both the steam that are as well as probably the oil also start to smoke a little bit. This is one way to char the ingredients, which means that you use a small amount of oil. So this keeps the wok very hot. And next, I add some just snow peas, and then I'm going to add a little bit of asparagus. Now you notice that I do not add a lot of snow peas and asparagus because I'm using them more like as a condiment. And then I add some baby corn. Now baby corn is very popular in Chinese restaurants, and I do not use them actually much at all because I do not like them that they come from a can. But I happen to have a can on hand, and the other day actually I did a cooking demonstration and I used some of it, so I have a little bit left. So I decided I'm going to put it together and use it up. Now I want you to take a close look of what all of these ingredients in there. Again, it is a sequential stir frying because the ingredients I add toward the end are the ingredients that do not take a lot of time to cook, and I want to keep their texture. And so the last one I add to this is some portobello mushroom. Now, mushrooms are easily overcooked. In fact, if you cook mushroom, usually most of the time mushrooms just disappear into the dish because they become softer and the texture really will not stand out. So if you want your mushroom to stand out, you want the texture to be noticed, then the best way is to add the mushroom way toward the end. Again, at this point, I add a little bit more cooking oil. The key you decide whether you want to add a little bit more cooking oil is look at the bottom of your wok. If your bottom of the wok look really dry, then you know that you need to put a little bit more cooking oil because otherwise some of the food ingredients would get burned more than you would like. Now, on the other hand, you might want the ingredients to get burned to give it a little bit charring, and that will make the ingredients have a better flavor. Okay. I'm only going to season this dish very lightly with probably about 1 to 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Now you notice that I never measure my sauce, and the reason is because I find that first of all is different dishes require different amount of sauces. The best thing is that to keep your sauce in a squeeze bottle, so this way you can always make adjustment. Last step is that I want to make a little bit more of a sauce, and besides there are some of this food ingredients that burn to the bottom of the wok, and not very much. So I'm going to use a water bottle and to put a little bit of water onto the surface of the wok. As you notice that now you have a little bit sauce accumulate at the bottom. Now, when you add water, you have to be very careful because water is really powerful in softening the texture of your ingredients, such as your vegetables like broccoli. If you add water, they have a tendency to basically become soggy. I did a taste test a little bit earlier, and I decided I want to just add a touch more oyster sauce, a little bit more saltier. So again, you can decide how you like to season it. In this dish, I am using only oyster sauce. Sometimes I add hoisin sauce. Occasionally, I also add hot sauce. So this is a good example of flavor chasing. You decide the type of flavor that you want. But it is important to remember your ingredient is the primary contribution to the flavor of your dish. The reason was very simple, because the texture of the ingredients really plays a very important role of how you perceive a particular dish, how you think of it. So now I'm going to add all these ingredients on top of the noodles. And as you can see in here is that the noodle forms like a bed at the bottom. And then you have the ingredients go over it. And also you notice that the sauce will now seep into the noodles. Now the distinction in this dish is that if you cook it this way, you will find that the noodles will stay relatively crisp as the way it is, but it will be softened by the sauce that you add to it. Now, the most important thing when you construct a dish like this is that use whatever you have in your refrigerator and make the choice of what might go well, and you can both in choosing different types of ingredients as well as varying the ratios, and that will give you a distinct characteristic to each of this dish. Remember, this is template-based cooking, and when you do this, you can cook so many different versions of a particular dish by making these subtle changes. And okay. Now, as you notice that we really enjoyed this dish, we did a really good job, just two of us. So I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine, which in my case it actually is. And this is one of my most favorite activity during my day. So if you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.